This apparently was not part of Mr. Tyler's legal education. And so you want to have qualified people running the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, not people that are going to use these veiled scare tactics of, oh, it's political-based criterion now, it's not less than one half. And then it's going to be race-based if you provide for the beneficiaries under Section 207, where you give them the mercantile economic opportunities. Right there, you have that leadership style that he essentially is inheriting, he says, where he's going to look for excuses as to not advance the interests of the beneficiaries first. And I think it comes out of a deficit in the education that he brings to the table. He just does not have a clue as to what would survive strict scrutiny. And moreover, it's Congress acting in the field of the national interest. It will survive. And I'll wrap it up with saying that, you know, when you have Mr. Owo, who was implicated with the misuse of DLNR resources with the helicopter, and him and his son went on some errand and got into trouble with that. But basically, in his testimony, Mr. Owo is advocating for Mr. Isla, who stole property that didn't belong to him from the Bishop estate. I mean, from the Bishop Museum, okay? Evie, he says, so it was good intentions, but it's still theft, okay? You don't need that kind of people running the Department of Hawaiian Homelands that have that lack of integrity and credibility with regards to, see no problem at all with stealing property. And then you also have more recently with our cases at Kehikinui, where we're being threatened by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. His administration is saying, you're going to lose your lot unless you build in a dangerous condition. We've had 7 fires in the past 6 years. We have no water to fight those fires. And yet he's going to threaten us with us losing our leases. You know, so whether or not you get in as Hawaiian Homes Commission Deputy Director, Tyler, I will file suit against the Department of Hawaiian Homelands because you're breaching your fiduciary duties when you're forcing us to build in dangerous conditions, and you're totally shirking your obligations under the Act to provide the necessary infrastructure. When Congress passed the Act in 1920, they intended that we have habitable lots suitable for human habitation and not for the convenience of well, we're going to give you some raw land out here. We suckered you into an adhesion contract. You know, we're going to give you less than what Congress intended under the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. We know it violates the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act of 1920, but it's your fault. Okay? That's the kind of leadership style that he runs, and I want him out. Okay, I want him out, and if Mr. Tyler doesn't understand that Congress can use race as a criterion, and he's sort of hinting at the fact that we may lose the entire act, and also with this OHA person showing up, this washed-up has-been, they're hoarding and squandering our $600 million that we have. That's our money, identical beneficiaries. Native Hawaiians is defined in the Act of 1920, and it's your state that's allowing OHA to hoard that $600 million. We could use that money to build the water that we need at Kehikinui. And so when Haunani Apoliona comes to this Senate hearing and acts like we're all together, one day we're all going to unite, I mean, it's just bogus. It's the same bogus stuff, an excuse that keeps us from settling the Hawaiian homelands. Congress and the state agreed in 1959.
Summarize, please.
Yeah, summarizes that the Hawaiian Homes Act is a paramount law of the land. Not this OHA made up stuff in 1978, where they divert the funding away. Because if you look at the Act, the Admissions Act, it says Section 4, Federal State Compact, Hawaiian Homes Act. Right next to it, Section 5F, is the funding mechanism. So you guys are acting like you don't know where the money is, but OHA and Haunani Apoliona, who had the nerve to come here today and say that, oh, you know, maybe one day we're all going to unite and they'll get to steal our Hawaiian homelands. We need that money today that you're letting OHA sit on. Okay, we need that money now. And if Mr. Tyler doesn't understand that, he shouldn't be appointed either.